On SME this morning on Wake Up Nigeria, we have Adewale Adegbaiye Kiji, who is the founder of Kijipa Couture, an award-winning brand, also multiple award-winning brand, I must say, aka Kijipa Africa. He's also a fashion designer and writer. An iconic brand it is. It's so good to have you in the studio with us this morning.
Thank you so very much. Good morning.
All right. So when we talk Kijipa, this is the brain behind that brand. Do tell us, how was this conceptualized? Was it something that grew gradually, or it was just a vision you'd always had? Okay,
so it's a concept birthed from the earth of Africa, for Africa to sell Africa possibly to the world through fashion. So Kijipa is an ancient African fabric dated back to over 400 years ago. The fabric they used to take your forefathers from Africa, slaves to diaspora, and then they brought it back as khaki and denim and sold it to us as originally, originating from them. But actually, it's ours, it's us. And the Kijipa Couture brand is created to intentionally sell the Nigerian lifestyle to the world through every other piece, wherever it is sold, bought or won across the world.
Amazing, amazing. Well, of course, business has its challenges, and I'm sure you've faced a fair share of yours through the years. But then, what is that challenge that you could never, ever ignore when talking about your history, the history of your brand?
Okay, so it's multifaceted, but basically it's the challenge of transmitting your vision, into the whole system, from your value chain and production, to your team, and of course, to ensure that eventually all these efforts translates to building a sustainable global fashion brand.
Which brings me to something. The global fashion brand you mentioned also relates to the fact that, of course, your business has its own ups and downs, just as you mentioned. However, dealing with all of these people, all of these tiers of achieving your goal as a fashion brand, how do you manage the entire situation? How do you put things together? Is it that you get the right hands in places, or this is something that you control more like a puppeteer? Is this something you are still very hands-on, or you have people that you trust?
Okay, so so as a visionary of your business or brand, you can't be out of the system. You can create a working system for yourself by drafting out a DNA, of how the operations will be. And then when I say DNA, I mean there has to be an original element of the whole conceptualization of the idea, that would now transmit into every facet of your operations, your brand experience, and of course your product experience as well. So it's a long and endless chain, of ensuring that that major element that stands you out as a brand is being followed and ensued till the endless time that you would leave the brand here on earth. And then it keeps going on and on and on.
A legacy.
Yeah, it's a legacy.
Now, at the start of the conversation, you mentioned our khaki and, of course, the jeans fabric sourced from Africa and all. Now, there are several brands that actually use this fabric. However, you have a unique way of using it. So I dare ask, what sets your brand apart from every other brand making use of the same fabric?
Okay, so the story behind every concept that comes from ateliers. So what I'm wearing this morning is the Afro Dandy. It's from the Afro Dandy collection, that we just dropped.
It looks really good.
And this is inspired by the MET Gala, that's just been concluded in the month of May in the US. And it's a whole lot of inspirational experiences of history, you know, the Black history in America, you know. So we look into stories, we look into culture, we look into, it doesn't have to be Nigerian, so we just came back from Ghana and experiencing Ghana and creating, you know, chains of spaces where we're sold in Ghana, and then bringing back one of the most traditional and beautiful piece called Batakari in Ghana. Batakari? Making it better, silhouette, more stylish and more functional. And then it's sold in Nigeria already in like about 6 stores as we speak right now. So we're intentional about every of our piece. We're intentional about the storytelling part of it. And then, of course, the silhouettes and then the functionality. And that's what I think stands out, the Kijipa Couture brand, from every other, brand across the world.
Now, you mentioned the fact that this outfit is inspired by the MET Gala. And I wonder, this paper, like a newspaper, right? What inspired this particular?
Okay, so it's the news. It's all over the news. The MET Gala 2025 was all over the news, splattered about. And that's why we have, you know, an element of the newspaper fabric print, you know, mixed on the khaki silhouette. And then, of course, the cut, you know, the functionality. And then, of course, we're not going to forget the cowrie as, you know, part of the element that comes from, you know, the core part of Africa. You know, so this piece is meant to tell you you're African. It's meant to remind you that your forefathers that were taken down actually isn't, you know, use fashion as a way or as a getaway, you know, to get, you know, some kind of livelihood value and some kind of happiness in the midst of that darkness of suppression, oppression, and enslavement, you know. So if you hear the likes of Dapper Dan talking about, you know, their experiences in Harlem, it wasn't a funny one. So it was just, you know, that they took fashion as a getaway and an element to, you know, rejuvenate themselves and revalue themselves. And that's why we have the MET Gala, and then that's why the MET Gala experience is birthing the Kijipa Couture Afro Dandy pieces that is rolled out this month.
This is available in different colors, right?
Different colors, different fabrics,
okay,
you know,
so
different accentuations.
Out of curiosity, how much will this cost someone who wants to walk into one of your stores to buy?
So this is about 180,000.
180,000 naira. Okay. Now that brings me to the collection itself. How often do you come up with new collections? Is it an annual thing or twice a year? That's biannual. How often? Okay, so that takes us back to the question you asked initially about what stands out us out as a brand. So we're not your regular kind of brand. We, like I said, make researches, and then once we get a research and we look at the market trend and we think that a particular piece is going to sell, then we create a particular line that is endless. We're not going to stop producing the lines. We have a lot of lines that are being sold, you know, in their thousands to people across the world. You know, I'm sure people watching this program will be, a lot of people watching is rocking, you know, 1 or 2 of our pieces across, you know, all countries of the world. Now, answering that, if there are events that are, you know, that invites us for partnership, we create a collection. So the last one we created was for EcoBank Ojaoge. We opened the show at the EcoBank, just concluded EcoBank Ojaoge, and then we created a particular beautiful African-inspired collection called Odeoge. And Ode in Yoruba means we're outside, you know, we're outside, more like Odeoge, you know, and then it's a 11-piece collection that is beautiful, and it all sold out at the EcoBank show. It has been quite an interesting conversation with you. I have loads of other questions for you. Unfortunately, we have to move on. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much. And I wish Kijipa Couture the best as always.
Thank
the
you so very
iconic
much.
brand itself.
Yes.
At this point, we have to take a break. You're watching Wake Up Nigeria. Stay with us. We'll be right back.